Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike P. Warski, coming to you live from the East Coast. It's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig. It's Monday, baby. It's Monday.
It's Monday. Time to have some fun.
Hey, stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Each state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slope tin. He took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever-ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on. Trumpy dance, it's your chance to do the Trump. Come on, do the Trumpy Trump. Come on and do the Trumpy Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpy Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpy Trump. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpy Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpy Trump. It's time to do the Trumpy Trump. Yeah, my favorite day.
That's right, folks. We are doing the Trumpty Trump because, well, let's just be honest. Trump is just winning.
Winning. He's killing it. He's killing it. They got nothing. They
got nothing, man. You know, Friday talked about the Supreme Court decisions. Peace has broken out in the Congo. The end of the 12-day war. Just item after item after item, Trump is winning, and Democrats just can't handle it. They are just so livid. When I say Democrats, let me be clear. There are plenty of Democratic voters who are quite happy that Trump is winning because the fact that he is winning means that they are winning, that we, America, is winning. But there are plenty of Democratic politicians that are losing their minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, I looked outside earlier today and I saw cats and dogs living together. It's got to be Trump. I'm going to give Trump credit.
Got to be Trump.
Got to be Trump.
Got to be Trump. He gets told the credit.
Who was it? It was the boy. I'm trying to remember the name of the organization. I just saw it earlier today. One of the business associations that predicted that tariffs were going to destroy us all and be the end of the world. They did a complete 180 and said we were wrong, and we're happy we were wrong because we're raking it in now and we're on top.
Well, exactly. And like I said, I think there is a difference between what they were concerned about was the full implementation of, okay, we're just going to tariff everybody, and the way and Trump's plan to utilize tariffs to get better trade deals for us with other countries, and by the way, with corporations, and I think it's been a success on both fronts.
Yeah, it has. I think it was President Trump over the weekend talking about they were trying to balance. They were doing the final checks on the big beautiful bill, and it was $80 billion off. They called him and said it was off, and he said check the tariff line, and they went down there. And sure enough, they brought in $88 billion in tariffs since they wrote the bill and hadn't put that line in there yet.
Well, there you go. There you go. Stuff happens. You heard it here on the rundown from Mike Stradamus. You heard it. You heard it. All right. Speaking of that, let's get into talking about all the winning. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you get yourself some AR barrels, any caliber, any pistol caliber, any rifle caliber, any length you desire for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWGholsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, assault gear, survival gear, law enforcement, military, EMS, whatever it is, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order over at uscombatgear.com where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment and visit our sponsors. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, click on the link, check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching the program live from 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, you can go ahead and comment. We would love to hear what you have to say, if we like what you have to say, or even if we don't like it. As long as we find it interesting, we will go ahead and share it with our audience. But just do note that if we don't like it, we do reserve the right to mock you.
You're going down. You're going down the hole, boy.
Yes, big time mockery. Like, mockingbird mockery. Know what I mean?
Craig's a father mocker.
a father mocker.
You're a father mocker. Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Moving right along. All right, folks. The Senate is voting. The Senate is voting on the big, beautiful bill. I did not have a chance to check and see if the big, beautiful bill had passed, but they did a test vote. The test vote was basically to see if it would be taken up, and the vote was 51-49. So they were able to bring it up by the hair of its chinny chin chin. Now, I don't think that someone is going to vote to bring it up if they're not going to actually vote to pass it. So it's looking like this thing is going to pass finally. As we've said before, it ain't perfect, but it one of the things that it does. Well, first of all, let me read this here for you. I'll read the story here. This is from the BBC. U.S. Senate begins voting on Trump's big, beautiful bill. It says the U.S. Senate has begun voting on a massive spending plan, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, after weeks of contentious negotiations. Republicans, who control both chambers of Congress, were divided over how much to cut welfare programs in order to extend tax breaks. Yeah, that's not exactly the truth, but okay. President Donald Trump wants Congress to pass the bill by the 4th of July. After the House of Representatives passed its version of the bill last month by a single vote, the legislation went to the Senate. Because of the changes made by the Senate, the bill will go back to the House for another vote. Senators zipped through the halls of the Capitol on Monday, making their way to the chamber floor for various amendment votes, then back to their private meeting rooms where they hashed out grievances outside the view of reporters. Senators are currently arguing for or against adding amendments to the nearly 1,000-page bill in a process called Vote-A-Rama, which could entail up to 20 hours of debate. We're still obviously perfecting things, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said on Monday. An amendment to the proposed Medicaid cuts recently proposed by Florida Senator Rick Scott could cause roughly 20 million Americans to lose their health insurance coverage, according to one estimate. Now, Mike, let's be clear.
That's not true.
Well, one, we know that's not true. Here's the deal. They only lose their health care coverage if they are an able-bodied individual with no kids who refuses to work or look for work or get an education or do anything, meaning, freeloaders.
Yeah, they're going to lose their Medicare coverage if they're fraudulently receiving Medicare coverage.
I know. Kind of funny how that works, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Here's the thing, folks. We knew that it wasn't going to make the cuts it's not going to make the cuts that we really want to see over the long term. We know that. But the most important thing about this bill is that it does make the tax cuts permanent. If this bill does not pass, you would see it equates to the largest tax increase in American history.
If it doesn't pass.
If it does not pass, if it does not become law, then because all it really does is it takes the tax cuts of 2017 and makes them permanent, which is why I'm struggling to understand why, quote unquote, they're saying that additional cuts are necessary, because it's already factored into the current budget. I mean, unless they were planning on increasing welfare spending by the amount that the tax cuts, unless they're unless they were looking at increasing it by the amount of however much people were going to save in tax cuts, that just doesn't make any sense.
yes, you're right. But this is, again, like we already said, this is not about the truth, right? We're going to
No.
get all sorts of roadblocks and lies from the left during this. I'm sorry, I'm still tracking to make sure where the vote is. Like you said, we are they have entered into the floor debate stage. They did vote that in. Now it's on the floor waiting for that to end before calling for a regular vote.
Well, yeah, the floor debate stage was largely about just it's a test vote. So in other words, they know they have the votes to pass it, but I think what they're done is they've negotiated some of the bigger details. One of the big concerns you're getting from some folks is the issue relating to Medicaid, and once again, I don't understand what your point is. It's like we're kicking freeloaders off of Medicaid, and by the way, we're telling states when it comes to Obamacare, which a lot of those a lot of the freeloaders that were added as a way in which to convince or state senators to or states to approve Obamacare. In other words, oh, don't worry that it's going to increase the cost of your state healthcare programs. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to basically subsidize it by letting people on Medicaid who never should have been on Medicaid. You know those freeloaders that I'm talking about? Yeah, we're going to let them on.
Yes. Yeah. And great. You know, it's like it's almost like Doge for Medicaid, you know, knock the freeloaders off.
Right. Because I'm sorry, man. Look, if things are tough, in particular, if we are overspending the amount that we are overspending, why are we paying for someone to have health care who refuses to work, who refuses to even try or attempt to find a way to pay for their own health care?
Because statistically speaking, those that receive handout money from the government vote Democrat, and that's why the Democrats are fighting that portion of the bill.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose the votes.
It is both sad and unfortunate, but it is where they are. And anyway, so I think that the American people in the end, if they understand the truth about the one big beautiful bill, they will agree, all right, yeah, we need to cut spending more. And keep in mind, this is just this year's budget. There will be 3 more budgets that will be going through before Trump is no longer president. And we can potentially see the cuts start to happen once this goes through. Because after this, I mean, what else is there? They've got their border spending in order to basically border enforcement spending. They've got the money for military improvements, and they're getting the money for the tax breaks. Which, by the way, I still will continue to say that it is not government spending. Tax cuts are not government spending. Tax cuts are allowing people to keep their own money.
Right. Yeah, the only thing left after this, Craig, would be 2 things, right? You got the re-education camps, and then you got peace on earth. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
If you believe the left, that's what we have planned. Yes.
Well, now don't forget, the Republicans are going to put all black people back in chains. That's also part of the plan.
Oh, that'd be the work camps. I forgot to mention those. Yeah.
Oh, that's part of the work camp. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Merge it all together. That is according to Democrats. For those of you who are looking to take this out of context, that's what the Democrats are planning.
You have the work camps to build the re-education camps. That's what it is. Yeah.
There you go. All right, now there's a big thing right now in Washington where they're really trying to come down or go after ICE and trying to get mad at. They're trying to basically talk about, beat them up in the media over wearing masks. Well, there was a video that was put out recently by the interim director of immigration of ICE, basically talking about how you literally have some of these liberal activists are actually targeting the families of ICE agents. Here's the video.
My officers and agents are enforcing immigration law. They are not secret police. They are not Nazis. But people hiding behind keyboards are demonizing them. They're docking them, stirring up anti-ICE sentiment, and putting their lives and their family lives at risk.
Because you guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Sorrento. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, They're gonna peep out at you.
You can kill them. This isn't about social media clout anymore. This isn't about video. This isn't about the phone. This is about get a gun and start killing ICE agents.
Wouldn't you wear a mask if you kept your family safe? If you kept your kids safe? We ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorists?
That's right. Now it's part of a video not part of a video. That's a video that was put out by ICE, basically kind of explaining why a lot of these folks are wearing masks. And here it says, Acting Immigration and Custom Enforcement Director Todd Lyons says left-wing activists are targeting ICE agents, with some going after agents' families, including their children. In a video posted on X on Monday, Lyons revealed that ICE and the United States Secret Service tracked down one particular TikTok activist who had been targeting the children of ICE agents online. Wouldn't you wear a mask if it kept your family safe, if it kept your kids safe? We ran an operation with the Secret Service, Lyons said. We arrested someone who was going online, taking ICE agents' photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagrams, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue? Is it the issue that someone is upset about masks, or is anyone upset that ICE officers, families are being targeted? I don't understand why Democrats are not upset about this. At least be as upset about this as you are about ICE agents or individuals wearing masks. Because once again, we're not talking about just the ICE agents being targeted. We're talking about their families.
Because silence equals consent. That's why, Craig. They don't say anything because they're all for it. If they came out opposed to it, they'd be lying, because we know they're not opposed to it. So their silence is their vote for consent for this operation, for these things that are going on. Now, those people you saw in this video, Craig, let me explain to them and everybody else out there. They're not going. By the way, if that video's out, they've already been contacted and they're in police custody. I don't care if you're the vice mayor of Los Angeles or wherever city that other woman was from, and then the chick with the bull news ring. They've already been swept up. All right, they've already been identified and swept up, and they're not going to county jail. All right, they're not going to state prison, Craig. They're not even going to federal prison. All right, they're going to be labeled as domestic terrorisms, and they're on their way to the beautiful Cuban resort of Guantanamo. So they are domestic terrorists, and they will be dealt with accordingly.
I don't understand in what world people think it's okay to put threats out. I mean, when you are putting something out there, like on this thing called social media, like where people can see it, do people not understand that directly threatening either an individual or a group of people is a crime?
Yeah. And if they're doing it to try and change political policy,
yes,
it is domestic terrorism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
They are going away to a great little camp that nobody knows of. You'd be lucky if you go to a camp in this country, right? You might get one of them camps over in Europe somewhere. We trade you off,
Well, I do believe that they're likely going to. I'll put it to you this way: at this point right now, they're going to take them into custody. They're going to scare. They're going to scare the poop out of them, and I think in the end they're going to wind up on probation or something like that. But I think if it's something that winds up escalating, then I could easily see the consequences start to go further.
These are not the first ones. Others have done it, and other politicians have done it. So I've got every confidence, Craig, that the two you just showed me are going away for a while.
Well, in particular, the one who specifically said, shoot ICE agents.
Yeah.
I would be. I think she gone. I think she gone. The vice mayor, she said, you're not saying anything. You're not doing anything. You could kind of get away with saying, I was just saying they should say something.
Yeah. Yeah, good. You could tell that to the wall in your cell in Guantanamo.
There you go. Well, there you go. Anyway, very, very happy to see that they're. what I appreciate about the administration in particular this time is they are doing a much better job of communicating, in particular, not even necessarily going through the media, but going around the media to communicate their perspective, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and not waiting for the mainstream media or the legacy media to report for them.
Yep, exactly. Very good.
Yeah.
Good work, guys and gals.
And gals. All right. North Carolina governor. Now, this is an interesting one because I know this guy is going to, I know what direction he's going to go. He's going to side. Basically, his question is he going to choose gun control or is he going to choose student safety? I know I'm 100% confident he's going to choose gun control. It says here, will North Carolina's anti-gun governor stand in the way of school safety? This is by Cam Edwards over at Bearing Arms. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein has already vetoed the permitless carry bill approved by lawmakers, but the legislature just sent him another bill that's likely to fall victim to his veto pen, even though doing so would put some North Carolina students at greater risk of harm. On Thursday, the legislature gave its final approval to HB 193, which would allow private schools in the state to authorize teachers or school volunteers to carry concealed on campus, essentially serving as a front line of defense in the case of an active assailant. The allowance comes with some provisions, however. In order to lawfully carry on private school grounds, a concealed carry licensee would have to first receive written permission from the school's board of trustees or administrative director, and completes an approved 8-hour training course every year. Additionally, the school itself must adopt and maintain written standard operating procedures regarding the possession and carrying of the weapons. That's distributed to the parents of students every school year. This bill would be a boon for school safety, and Stein should put aside his own hostility towards the Second Amendment and allow these private schools to have armed protection without having to fork out tens of thousands of dollars to hire a single security guard. There are plenty of public schools with dedicated law enforcement on campus, but that's not really an option for private schools. Allowing screened staff and vetted volunteers to bear arms in defense of students and employees should be. And I think this is real simple. It's like, okay, not every school district can afford, not every school can afford to hire armed security. And for those of you who don't know, people who go and get your guard card don't do much more training than these guys do. Than what they are requiring here. And I don't know what sort of concealed carrying requirements there are. Permitless carry doesn't exist in North Carolina, so I don't know what, because they vetoed the bill, so I don't know what the requirements are there. But I'm assuming some of that includes training. So in other words, you'd have the 8-hour training for carrying on campus, as well as your whatever is required for concealed carry. That's as much, if not more, training than a lot of these security guards, armed security guards get.
Yeah, depending on the state, Greg. I know I don't know what it is in California and Florida. It's a 40-hour course, but you could break that into a 16-hour course up front and 24 hours within 3 years. And it's all the don't shoot here, don't shoot there, how to be a security guard kind of training. It's very little on the tactics of shooting. It's basically how to shoot without shooting yourself, kind of stuff. It's nice to see that they're throwing this in there, but this is it's a nothing burger, right? You're going to get a couple of the very conservative school districts that may approve this, but for the most part, where they need these armed security, or they need these armed individuals in the liberal criminal crime-ridden districts, it's never going to happen. They'll never approve it.
Well, now keep in mind, this bill actually specifically is for private schools. So, and in many cases, these private schools we're talking about are Christian schools, which, by the way, have been targeted for some of these mass shootings. Oh, yeah. So okay. I could see some of these church schools approving it.
They'll have it. Yeah. That'll go through. I thought this was the public schools.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no. This was just specifically for private schools, which
Okay.
I'm like, well, why wouldn't you allow private schools to have that?
Yeah. Well, it's weird because in some states the law says, well, it's a school, so we don't want. Then there's no firearms there. They fall under the whole no firearm blanket. But it's a private school. It's akin to the state coming telling me I can't have a gun in my own house if it's not illegal in that state. Well, no, it's private. Private. You get the term private part. Private. It's private. We want private. So
Well, but in places like California, they say, well, it's a school, and a lot of churches that want to allow concealed carry, I want to want to allow they want to allow that, but live in a state where if you have a concealed carry permit in that state, you are not exempt from gun-free school zone laws. Well, like California, then if there's a school hosted on campus, then you are not allowed to carry. I mean, hosted where in the same place where the church is, then you're not allowed to carry there.
yeah, same kind of fight we've seen here, and I've seen it come down to cases where, yeah, the school is here, but it's Sunday, bro. Ain't no school in session. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, then once again, that's the argument, and well,
yeah,
unfortunately, so far, when it comes to the courts in California, we've lost that argument.
yeah,
But hopefully, that will change.
yep.
All right, that brings us to the story here about the Duke Law Journals. Now, once again, we all know that this is happening, but people say, "Oh, we're not happening. We're providing equality. We're getting qualified people. We're not." No. Actually, you're not. And this is a piece over at the Washington Free Beacon. Duke Law Journal sent a secret memo to minority applicants telling them they'd get extra points for writing about their race. At the end of finals period each May, the Duke Law Journal hosts a 2-week-long competition to select its next crop of editors. Applicants write a 12-page memo or case note analyzing an appellate court decision, as well as a 500-word essay about what they would contribute to the journal. Students are chosen based on their grades, case notes, and personal statements. Less than 20% of the class makes it onto the law review, which is overseen by Duke Law School and has no legal existence apart from it. To help students prepare for the competition, the journal circulates a guide on how to write the case note. Last year, however, it decided to give some students an additional document. In a packet prepared for the law school's affinity groups, the journal instructed minority students to highlight their race and gender as a part of their personal statements, and revealed that they would earn extra points for doing so. The packet, obtained exclusively by the Washington Free Beacon, included the rubric used to evaluate the personal statements. Applicants can earn up to 10 points for explaining how their membership of an underrepresented group will lend itself to promoting diverse voices, and an additional 3 to 5 points if they hold a leadership position within an affinity group. To drive home the point, the packet included 4 examples of personal statements that had gotten students on the law review. Three of those statements referenced race in the first sentence, with one student boasting that, quote, "As an Asian American woman and a daughter of immigrants, I'm afforded with different perspectives and experiences and privileges." A fourth student waited until the last paragraph to disclose she was a Middle Eastern Jewish woman. And intersectional identity, she said, would prove useful in a collaborative environment. So now, once again, this is one of the top law schools in the nation. And they're basically saying, yeah, if you mention your race, we'll get you on the law review. Now, these are people who are going to go on to work at some of the most prestigious places in the world as attorneys, and or even worse, they're going to be sent out there to represent people, both as a prosecutor or as a defense attorney or in civil litigation. And they're clearly not necessarily the most qualified people. They're the most well. They're people who are who more represent diversity, equity, and inclusion than they do the quality of what could be or should be coming out of Duke Law School.
Yeah, I just looked up for clarity's sake the definition of intersectional identity, and it is as DEI as you imagine it is. It's just more woke nonsense definitions to define yourselves.
Oh yeah,
Look,
it's
I'm special. I'm special.
well, exactly. It's like, okay, well, how many different ways can I be different or special? It's like, okay, well, are you a Muslim, gay, transsexual with ADHD and maybe you're deaf?
Yeah, or like Craig, like you're a conservative person from California that likes the Cowboys. So that clearly that makes you intersectional. So
Mike, I will not tolerate this hate speech from you.
hate speech, peaking in the 90s, baby, just like the Cowboys. Peaking in the 90s.
I hate your speech. That's why I call it hate speech. I hate your speech.
I hate your speech.
You ain't right. You ain't right. All righty, folks. Well, hey, that's now going to bring us to our parting shots. That's right. Our parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, and get your hog holster today. Talking about Donald Trump winning. This is, if you guys have never seen this guy, Scott Jennings, he is the new star. He's the conservative star, by the way, on CNN. And he literally just spends every day just beating up on the liberal panelists that are on there. I enjoy watching. The only time I really watch CNN now is to watch him. So anyway, check this out.
And he knows that the lower courts cannot carte blanche stop him, which hugely increases the power of the executive.
Yeah, look, this is a great week for him, not just because of this ruling, but earlier in the week, the Supreme Court handed him the ruling on being able to deport illegal immigrants to third-party countries, essentially. So he's on a little bit of a winning streak in the courts right now. And what a lot of Republicans are saying is, nope, we're not tired of winning yet. This happened. The stock market's at a record high. He brokered the ceasefire in the 12-day war. Peace broke out between Rwanda and the Congo. I mean, gas prices are at a 4-year low for the summer. I mean, win after win after win. And this particular one is the most important because these individual judges had been, I think, unfairly stopping the president from governing. He won the election. They didn't. We don't have 600 presidents. We have one president. And now he's going to be able to actually govern. And so you could make an argument that this week or the last 2 weeks, the best week or 2 weeks of his entire presidency.
There's a lot of weeks to argue. I agree. Yes, you can make that argument. But there's a lot of weeks that you could argue.
Well, I mean, listen, I'll say it, the win in the Supreme Court that these judges cannot make nationwide injunctions. They can only make injunctions to those that it applied to that are unnamed complainants or plaintiffs in their jurisdiction. That's a huge win.
Well, exactly, because if you look at the number, first of all, there have been more of these sorts of injunctions that have been put in place against Donald Trump than every other president, all other presidents put together.
Yeah.
So this is a huge deal, a very, very huge deal. Okay, here we go. Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you, since you sent this one over, I'm going to go ahead and let you read this one for our audience. First, describe it for our listeners.
This is great. This has got Tony Soprano standing there having a nice conversation with somebody. And he says, how people in Florida welcome newcomers to the neighborhood. And he's saying, hey, I don't want any of that California bullshit, okay?
Good stuff. Good stuff. And well, there you go. It reminds me of that bumper sticker I told you about that I saw in Texas. It says, like, it said, if you've moved here from California, remember, you're a refugee, not a missionary.
Yeah. We've got one here, a bumper sticker that you see often. It says, don't New York my Florida. Don't
New York my Florida. All right, here's another one that Mike just sent over to me. I'll share this one with you. It says here, go ahead. Sorry, you go ahead and do it.
Meth gators. This is from NBCnews.com. Meth gators. Police warn flushing drugs could create hyper aggressive alligators. And then teacher down there saying, all right, who had meth gators for July? Craig, I know where these meth gators are going. They're going to Alligator Alcatraz, baby.
Alligator Alcatraz. There you go. There you go. All right. Now this next one. Now, Mike, you know, there is a new theory that is out there relating to the coronavirus. And I have to say, it's a solid theory. It would make one believe that actually China did not invent the China virus. And here's the reason why.
I actually don't think the virus was made in China. I think it was made somewhere else, but it was just way cheaper to manufacture it in China. And as usual, China stole the idea and made it available to everybody. Huh? Think about it. If China made the virus, it would have been the first time that China makes something that lasts that long.
Yeah,
I think he's got a point.
He's got a point. He's got a point. I sent you one last picture if you want to bring it up, Craig.
I will bring it up, but first I'm going to do this video. This next one, this is gun owners. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to say this is gun owners, and I think when you hear it, you'll get it.
I grew up in the mean, tough streets of Baltimore, Maryland. When I was like 7 years old, I found a gun under my mom's pillow. I was like, man, I can't wait for my teeth to fall out. The Tooth Fairy's handing out pistols. I'm gonna get a bazooka for these.
Well, you know, the Tooth Fairy, he goes with what he's got available, you know?
He goes with what he's got available, but that was funny. I was like, because dude, let me just tell you right now, dude had some big choppers.
Yeah.
He had some big choppers. Okay, here, show this. Talk about this last one.
It is great. Some T-shirts going around now. It says, Iran forgot that our president has 34 felonies.
He's gangsta.
Don't mess with him. He got 34 felonies on him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And this last one here, this last video here is for all of you who are fans of the ATF.
Is that a stabilizing arm brace you got there? You better buckle up, buddy. You're going to prison. We just passed a law that makes those illegal on a federal level. And that little $25 hunk of plastic right there is a felony.
You didn't pass anything. You just made up a new rule. And you're a law enforcement agency. You can't make laws.
Yeah, okay. And where does it say that the ATF can't make laws?
Literally Article 1 of the Constitution.
Article 1 of the what now?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, folks. Well, that's just about it for today's program. But before we go, we got one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there. Get yourself some AR barrels, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you want or desire. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, EMS, whatever you together, get at geek.com where you get everything except.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it once again for today's program. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We'll be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. So till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.